from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week with RJ Broadhead and Luke Tasker.
Great to have you listening to Ticats This Week with RJ Broadhead and Luke Tasker. Luke, it's an 0-2 start for the Tiger Cats. Not ideal, but I'll get right into it. And I don't know if you used to do it as a team or as players, but I broke down the season into thirds. In the first 6 games, there's only one game against an East Division opponent. So, right now the Tiger Cats, after 2 losses, aren't in a bad position in the East Division because Toronto's the only team with a win coming into this week. And that those middle six games this season, in my opinion, are the make it or break it of the season. Those 6 games, 4 of them are against Toronto, 2 of them are against Montreal, all East Division, and they got to win those games. So ideally, they come out of these first 6 games close to 500, maybe above 500. We'll see how it goes. But those middle 6 games against Toronto and Montreal, would you agree that those divisional games are the ones that the Tiger Cats have to win?
Yes. And to your first question, I 100% players think of that too. You break down that 18 game into sort of a more digestible alignment of games, and you kind of got to think your way through how things are going to take shape. Tied for second after being 0-2.
For last, but I like the tied for second.
Yeah, you have an O. You have a. If the season ended, you'd have a home playoff game. I guess there'd have to be a tiebreaker, but you know what I mean. Yeah, strange circumstance to find yourself in, but that middle stretch is going to be fascinating. I mean, the amount of times to play Toronto and there's a decent chance that somebody in the East may have their playoff or no playoffs sealed, by the end of that middle season, that middle 6, this early half here, there's a lot of figuring out happening across the East and a lot still to be known.
Well, there certainly is. And the Tiger Cats could easily be 2-0 as well. The last 3 minutes against Saskatchewan didn't go well. And in all honesty, probably should have put that game away against Calgary. And they play Winnipeg in Winnipeg, which is a tough spot. But Winnipeg at 2-0, they could be 0-2. Ottawa played them so tough. Statistically, Ottawa's numbers were better than Winnipeg's. They had better time of possession. They put a ton of offense led by Jeremiah Masoli. But, the champs, they just find a way to win. They know how to win those close games. And big offensive numbers for Ottawa, but not a lot of points. Yeah.
I think the truth of that is, though, that to be watching as a Red-Black fan, I mean, you could have your equal frustrations, but in some ways they're a little bit closer to having things figured out than the Ticats. I mean, the Ticats have kind of had one good half of football offensively out of the 4 that have been played. Ottawa, I mean, Jeremiah Masoli is something like 700 yards over the 2 contests with Winnipeg. And on the flip side of that, Winnipeg, I mean, I'm actually surprised at the negativity that we're seeing about Winnipeg, because it only matters if you win or lose.
Yeah.
And it's almost a testament to the leadership, both from the coaching staff into the field. It's almost a testament to their experience and the sort of the character and depth of the team that they're winning the games without playing very well. I'm almost more impressed by that, where I think a lot of people are saying, well, why aren't we, meaning the Winnipeg fans and the commentators there, why aren't we looking as good as we maybe thought we were? Well, for me, in the Ticat world, as an opponent of the Blue Bombers, boy, they're winning without playing very well. That's a great place to learn from and to kind of get yourself to a place where you want to be heading into that second part of the season, compared to Ottawa and Hamilton, who maybe have at times shown a few things here or there, but have not been able to turn them into wins. So yes, to your point, also Winnipeg is a tough place to go and play. So is Sask. So is Edmonton and Calgary. I mean, it's all, there's a lot of difficult places to go into. And so I don't know, just the next challenge, like you've heard a lot of the players reiterate throughout the week.
Yeah, exactly. And they're so good at putting upsetting moments behind them and moving on and looking forward. And again, as Ticats fans, do not hit the panic button. These first 6 games, it's a bonus, in my opinion. Those next 6, crucial that the Tiger Cats win. The other thing I've been thinking of a lot about this week, Luke, is the fourth quarters. And the only thing I'm going to ask you, is it other teams making adjustments and the Tiger Cats not reacting to those adjustments? Have you been able to figure out what's going on? Because I know the team's searching for answers.
It may be adjustments, to be honest, not tangibly enough to the point where I could point one out, though. I think it's a level of aggressiveness in terms of on-field play and play calling that I think you need to double down on. Once you start playing a defensive offense, or a preventative defense, I just think that's not the answer in the CFL. I think once you're ahead, you have to keep on getting ahead. And I said it in Sask, especially, though the biggest and the hardest comeback for Ticat fans was here at Tim Hortons Field. In Sask, I think and out west, it's especially hard to come back if you start off down. So the flip side of that, if you can get off and play a good first half, you have to keep that aggressive play call mentality that gets you those early points and keep doubling down on a winning strategy.
Is that the secret to success on Friday against Winnipeg?
Well, didn't I say in the first 2 weeks that I wanted a fast start, and I find I got that in week 2, and that I guess that wasn't the key to success. It was such an impressive offensive first quarter and second quarter for the Ticats at Tim Hortons Field. You wish you could find something that wasn't obvious, that wasn't the simple answer, but you cannot turn the ball over, especially in the scoring end with the interception last week at Tim Hortons Field. And then no matter where it is on the field, if it's a fumble or a strip that goes back for a touchdown, doesn't matter how many yards it was, it's that costly. So got to have great ball security out west. I am going to go back to my tone that I've had throughout the season. I do still want to see a fast start in the same kind of first quarter we saw against Calgary at home. That they lacked in Saskatchewan. You cannot get off to the bad start out west again in Winnipeg.
And they have to be able to capitalize on points, something we saw Ottawa not able to do against the Winnipeg defense. Some good news for the Tiger Cats. Looks like Dylan Wynn is back. I know you love talking about him. What's he going to bring to this defense?
Especially in the early drives of the second half. Bo Levi Mitchell and his offense started to piece together some successful offensive drives, and the screen passes and the run game were part of that. And Dylan Wynn is a crucial factor in preventing both of those. Obviously, especially in the run game, is a huge disruption. Him back healthy, which we hope that he is, and of course that's the discretion of Dylan Wynn and the staff and that timing. But I would assume that he's ready to go. And the reason I say that is early on, I don't think it's the time to force that issue if a guy is not ready. I can just think back over my career in times where injuries I felt like I handled right, and injuries that I maybe pushed the envelope on too quickly coming back that lingered and had an effect on my impact for the team throughout the season. And so a guy like Dylan Wynn, you need him healthy October, November, but he's back in the lineup, and you can assume that means that he's ready to go. And I do expect it to look a little bit different up front this weekend.
Man, don't you think he'd be a tough guy to keep out of the lineup, even if he's not 100%?
Yeah, well, some guys are like that, and you gotta. That's sports psychology too. You got to know what kind of player you're dealing with. But he's also experienced enough now, and you and I love that demeanor that he brings to the field. But he does have the experience to understand what's truly important in the long run, and I'm sure that understanding has prevailed here as well.
Some bad news: the offensive line just can't get any good breaks. Yep. Brandon Revenberg, who really, I think he's only missed one game in his career. He's ill, and he won't be able to play. And he's just been a constant on that offensive line. You never really have to worry about him being out of the lineup, and he plays for the most part, mistake-free football. I can't think of many mistakes he's ever made. So that's again on that offensive line. Kay Okafor, who has experience, will step in there. But you've got a perennial all-star in Revenberg. That's a big blow to the offensive line, Luke.
Yeah, and not the first one they've had early on this season. And Revenberg and Chris Van Zyl are the anchors there, based on experience and and performance. They've both been all-stars and runner-up for most outstanding lineman and winner of most outstanding lineman with Chris Van Zyl. So that's a tough one. And he is Revenberg has been incredibly durable throughout his career, and not to say injury-free, but able to perform with the injuries he's had. And a strange one, a strange circumstance that the Ticats have to deal with now, but it's not one area of adversity, it'll be the other. And so, you're going to have to put up with it one way or back, and you get a guy like Dylan Wynn back, and you lose a guy like Revenberg for hopefully no more than a week. But still plenty of, you're right. Okafor does also have plenty of experience himself too. So hopefully they can maintain some cohesiveness there.
Yeah, and no doubt a challenge against that Winnipeg defense, which is one of the best. I know Tiger Cats want to get that title back all around. The other lineup update that stood out to me was Braylon Addison being a game time decision, which you want to get the ball to Braylon Addison. He's a playmaker. He's been terrific so far this year. If he can't go, the only two backup receivers in the lineup are Tyler Turnowski, who was just activated off the injured list, and Keandre Smith, who has never caught a CFL pass yet. So that goes from Addison, one of the most experienced and valuable receivers, to a lot of inexperience that's got to go in there again against a Winnipeg defense. So that's something I know we'll be keeping an eye on to see if Addison's good to go, Luke.
Yeah, and I think very highly of Braylon Addison. It probably comes out in the broadcast. I would imagine people can sense that. Obviously, I played with him. I think he's a true difference maker. He's a kind of football player who has a knack for knowing when a big play is needed. He's a guy who he's just got an X factor to him. There's something about him that makes him great, apart from his physical ability. And when he catches the ball, there's a quickness and an explosion upfield that I really admire about the way he plays. And so that's a loss at 100%. And 2000 and the 2021 season was a struggle for Braylon as he was up and down with injuries throughout the year. Game time decision kind of makes me feel like if it's the circumstances are such he has to miss this week, you can kind of hope that maybe it's only 1 week or he'll be back quickly, or it's something that we can kind of deal with and sort of work with. An encouraging thing on that core, though, is the amount of guys who caught passes last week. I mean, really before the end of the second quarter, Dane Evans was finding both Whites, Pappy and Tim, Stephen Dunbar Jr. for an incredible touchdown pass. David Unger had a beautiful explosive play down the middle. There are a lot of tools, but it'll, losing one of the most experienced and one of the most talented is going to be hard. I think in that group, that may be a position group that can overcome that and still have a productive night.
Well, we'll see if Stephen Dunbar can make it 3 straight games with a touchdown. Luke, you have an extremely busy day. You were a game time decision for Ticats this week, and you came through. You came through big time.
Yeah, no earbuds or microphone for me. We're on the fly, but you know what, RJ? Adversity, it comes and goes. You just roll on, man. We made it work.
I love it. Excellent job, Luke. Good chatting with you, and we'll see you at the game. Looking forward to it. It's a big one against Winnipeg. In Winnipeg, that would really, after a disappointing loss against Calgary, everything would be gone and everything would be rainbows and happiness if they can go to Winnipeg and get this victory.
The Ticat world would be set right and all wrongs forgotten. If they can go to Winnipeg and get a W, that would put things back on track big time.
Awesome. For Luke Tasker, I'm RJ Broadhead. This was Ticats This Week. And remember, the game is at 8:30 Eastern Time as the Ticats visit the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We'll have the call for you at 8:30 Eastern Time on the Ticats Audio Network.
It's been another busy week for your Hamilton Tiger Cats. Luke Tasker and RJ Broadhead have covered it all, and now we would like to hear from you. Email us anytime at gameday@ticats.ca. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.